Hi everyone. Today we're going to look at how to use AI to optimize your website at a very simple level. So what I want to do today is show you how I practically use AI to optimize my website. Now, we are a consulting firm. We have a couple of products. What we have is ElephantStripes. That's the name of our consulting firm, and it's how do you get your stripes. That's kind of the idea behind the name. But anyways, there's a bunch of stuff here. Some of our products are listed, some of how we do our work is listed, but mostly today we're going to be looking at how to use AI to make this site a little bit better. A very standard test you can do is use something called PageSpeed Rank. PageSpeed Rank gives you an overall view on what's going on with your website, and it tells you how good your website is relative to other people's websites. So as you can see, we have a mobile and desktop version. Generally, desktop is going to be better because you're getting all your data over fixed connections. What I want to fix up today is specifically around this SEO. And that's what I'm going to use AI to do. Now, the first thing is, do you have to manually come and do this every time? You do, but there's a trick to making it a lot simpler so you can track it as you want, which is really quite convenient. Anyways, let's look at this SEO piece. So if I look at the SEO, we've got 92, which is pretty respectable. The challenge is we have a problem with our robots.txt. Right, it says it's not valid. Now, I don't really know why it's saying it's not valid, but that's what we're going to look at today. My suspicion is the robots.txt was fine when we had it on Namecheap, but over the weekend, I moved everything for ElephantStripes to Cloudflare, and therefore there's some kind of issue there. Normally, I have it so that the robots.txt isn't cached on Cloudflare, but let's get into that one by one. Right. How do I actually fix this up? So I'm going to do a couple of things now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into VS Code, I'm going to go into Codex, and I'm going to open a new branch, right? We generally don't want to work on our main branch. We want to have it in a secondary branch in GitHub, and that's cool. So let's do that. You don't have to do it this way. It's just something I prefer. So let me move my face a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. Right, so you can say what I'm doing here. Today I'm working on ElephantStripes, which is actually this bit of code here. You can see I've already got some stuff. There's backups, there's code, there's some docs, all of that. And I'm telling it to start by reading agents.md, which has all my instructions for agents and how they should do work, and also by reading my README. And the README tells me a little bit about what is going on in terms of what this project does, how it works, rules around it. So what we're going to do, you can obviously do this manually, but is tell Codex to switch into a website optimization branch. The reason we want to do it in the branch is just safer, it's nicer, it's a little bit better practice to do it this way. I'm on 5.5 medium. You don't need to be on 5.5 medium for this, right? It's really straightforward stuff. You could do it on anything you wanted. Actually, I'll change this up to 5.3 or something like that when I normally work, but because I'm making a video on this, I'm showing it to you nicely. Now, what's happened here, you can see I'm in SEO robots text optimizations, and that's the branch I've made. Now, we know that PageSpeed Rank is telling us what to do. Now, here's something about how we've set up. You can see I've got a secrets folder here. I'm not going to show you any of these secrets, but you can see I've got a service account.json here. This is actually a service account in Google Cloud. What that does is this project has a service account key in it, which is able to access Google Cloud, and via Google Cloud, a whole heap of different APIs. So give me a second and let me show you what that looks like. If you haven't used Google Cloud before, you probably should. It's super convenient for lots of things. We use it for Google Analytics, Tag Manager, PageSpeed Rank, Search Console, a whole heap of stuff. Now you can see how I've got ElephantStripes here. If I have a look at the IAM and I'm looking at specifically service accounts, you can see I've got two service accounts here, and this is one of the service accounts. This is just an email at the end of the day and has a bunch of permissions. The other thing I wanted to look at here is API and services. So you can see this particular project, ElephantStripes, with that service account, has access to all these different APIs, right? The ones we cared about is PageSpeed Insights API. That's what we're going to use today, right? So now we say, can you please use and we have runbooks. This is how we organize our docs. And in this, I have a runbook, and I'll show it to you in a second, which tells Codex how to access the service account and what to do with the service account. I want to download the PageSpeed Rank report. We also generally have a working folder, so I'll tell it hopefully that made sense. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the Google service account to use the PageSpeed Rank API to then go and have a look at ElephantStripes.ai in PageSpeed Rank. What that allows me to do is bring a report down. Now, it should look pretty much exactly like this. It should tell us something very similar to this. And this is the thing we're trying to fix up. And once we've identified the issue, we can then use a similar token to have a look at Cloudflare and see what Cloudflare is saying. And that's kind of how we're going to solve this problem. Now, let's see what's done. Ooh, okay. So it's read this, it's looked at the PageSpeed report, it's running the report, and we can see that it's worked out what's going on here. You can see the SEO is 92 on 100, which is what we saw, and it tells me it needs attention. This totally makes sense. Right, so this is the bit that's useful. Cloudflare is prepending its managed content signals blocked to the live robots.txt, including disallow for several AI crawlers, before the app's own allow rules. The local app does not include that Cloudflare block, so this is likely an edge configuration. Right, so what this is telling us is Cloudflare prepends its, okay, that's interesting. Here's what we do now. We know that there's some kind of issue between what the wider internet can see and how our robots.txt is served on Cloudflare. We thought this was the issue. We didn't know exactly where it was, but this gives us a far better idea about where it is. So what I can say is we also have in our setup a Cloudflare API token. And we also have in our setup Cloudflare performance in our runbooks. So let's go have a look at Cloudflare, and it says it wants the bot management permissions. So if we jump here, you can see I've got these domains here, and there's a bunch of stuff that's happening. It's also interesting that I'm seeing these security insights, so that's something I need to look at some point soon. But if I look at account API tokens, this is the token I created a little while ago for ElephantStripes. So let's have a look at this. Bot management. Okay, that looks good. So what I've done here is I've basically given our API key in Cloudflare access to these two things. View token, update. Okay, now that that has the permissions, I can say I'm basically just asking Codex to have a look at the bots in question, and it's checking the bot management endpoint, and if we can fix it up, that would be ideal. The value here is when you think about cybersecurity or any of deploy type services, the major challenge that is that all these systems are slightly separate and you need to track what happens across them. So now bot management endpoint is readable, it can have a look at it, it resets it, it's fixing it up, and then at the end of that, that's how we would fix it up. What have we learned here? There's a couple of things that we can do which are super helpful. If we give API access to both Google Cloud and Cloudflare inside our website CMS, we can now track performance in a way that we weren't really able to in the past. This is hugely helpful because deployments are way simpler, CI/CD is better. We can also have a look at the server and make sure the Nginx is good. We can look at it from security perspective. It's a way of automating bits of your flow that's really useful. On another video, I'll show you how GA and GTM work in this setup, but that's what I wanted to show you today in terms of how we get really good performance for clients. How do you do this on an ongoing basis? It's a subject for a different video, but essentially you create an OpenClaw setup that checks this on a schedule. So you check it every week, make sure everything's good. So essentially it's just run the same process I just ran manually, but you wouldn't generally do it manually. You would tell either OpenClaw or Hermes or something like that to run it once a week. You get the report, and if the report flags something important, you then go fix it up. I hope this was useful to you to just see what it looks like when we're fixing some of these smaller issues, which are configuration issues more often than not. And I hope that was helpful and you got value out of it. Thanks so much.